Good evening and welcome.
Your Saturday Night Stars right here.
For over half a century, we've tuned in to see stars being born before our eyes.
Britain has always been a country where people fancy their chances with a talent.
You've become the winner of Britain's Got Talent. What do you want to say to them?
You've changed my life.
In this series, we're finding out what the talent show really means to the viewers and stars alike.
It's the X Factor judges.
When that screen opens on a Saturday night and my heart is pumping out of my chest, it is so nerve-wracking.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the talent show story. Tonight on the Talent Show Story, we look back at the series that first gave viewers the chance to create stars. And I mean that most sincerely, folks.
Opportunity knocks.
And we tell the story of its controversial host, Hughie Green.
He was the godfather of talent shows.
For God's sake, Britain, wake up!
And if that didn't wake you up, this will. We'll be celebrating the talent show's most unlikely stars.
I think Jedward will be remembered for crazy hair, crazy performances, crazy everything.
I mean, what the hell has happened to this show?
But we start with a look at the changing face of the talent show presenter. It's fair to say that over the years, the sets have become more sophisticated.
Hello, Wembley.
The acts have evolved. And the prizes have got much bigger.
Oh, you lucky bit.
But one person has always been at the helm, the host.
Here's your host, Hughie Green's love child, Jonathan Ross.
Yes, many of TV's greats have fancied their chances as a talent show presenter.
Good evening and welcome.
Welcome to the Big Talent Show.
Your votes and your votes alone make the winner.
But the task of hosting a modern-day extravaganza like Britain's Got Talent or The X Factor is now amongst the most demanding on television, dealing with moments of controversy...
Now say so. George, what's your mouth?
Tears... and the odd tantrum.
So just you button it.
Hang on.
These days, a talent show host has got to do so much more than just stand in a studio and read an auto cue. They have to do so much more because the talent show itself has got so many more different elements to it. Anything can happen.
Dog chaos back here. Dog chaos.
We love doing Britain's Got Talent because you just don't know what's coming next. There was a dog act where they set fire to the rings and the dogs had to jump through. I don't know how much petrol they used, too much. And they wouldn't go out, and then the smoke alarms went off backstage. Stop going out! No one could put these out, so I ended up grabbing a fire extinguisher and going on and putting them out.
Got this one?
Yes, please. We're actually choking here.
If it's all going horribly wrong and you're thinking, oh God, Ant and Dec are the ones that are going to save the situation because their comic timing is impeccable.
Next week, we'll try and organise getting drunk in a brewery.
That's why they're the top guys in the business.
Yes, it was our favourite Geordie duo who reinvented the role of talent show host as presenters of Pop Idol 10 long years ago.
Hello and welcome to Pop Idol, the show that's on a mission to find the nation's next musical megastar.
Before then, the presenter's job had changed very little since the 50s, but as we entered the age of reality TV, all that was about to change.
When we got asked to host the show, we knew we'd be doing the typical host's job, especially when it came to the live shows. And what we didn't anticipate, though, was how much we'd get involved and how much we'd be on the side of the contestants. Nigel Lithgow said, come down to the auditions. We weren't meant to be at the auditions. He said, come down to the auditions and watch some of the acts. Some of them are awful.
Now and then, I get insecure from all the pain. I'm so ashamed.
We wanted to get their reactions from the minute that the auditionee walked out of that room. We wanted a camera in their face. How did they feel? What's going on?
You're right. We felt so sorry for these kids getting up there singing and then getting slaughtered by Simon and the rest of the panel.
Well done.
All right. They'd walk out the door and we'd end up giving them a hug, and Nigel saw it and saw how we reacted with them and then said, right, clear your diary, you're in every day. This is part of the show now.
Anyone who does this does not deserve to be treated like that.
But now every talent show's got that element, so good for us. We kind of started it.
Since then, the role of presenting a talent show has become an altogether more emotional experience.
Well, I think the best hosts of these shows are people who feel an empathy with the acts, a real empathy. Whether they're good or bad, they're like a protected blanket, the arm round the shoulder, the consoling arm, the empathetic arm.
They have to go on the journey with the contestants from day one. They're at the audition. They're helping them. They're hugging them. It's a very emotional thing for them to do.
You do get emotionally involved. No, you know, that's good, I think. I think that, you know, you shouldn't be working on the show if you're not a people person. You've got to be there for them when it all gets difficult.
I know this is going to be hard for you. We've got a lot of people want to know how you're feeling right now.
Dermot is fantastic. The amount of people that would cry on him, I was one of them. He was so understanding.
Please welcome your host, Dermot O'Leary.
Dermot O'Leary has become a viewer's favourite since taking over as X Factor host.
I think Dermot is an amazing host. I mean, this is an amazing show, but he runs it like clockwork.
Welcome to the X Factor, we are live.
He's an enthusiast. I mean, he loves the show. And you can tell that, you know, he does that twirl at the beginning of the show. And he does that because he's having fun.
Your final starts right here.
I think no one wants to see a Saturday night show with someone coming out and going, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. You want a bit of a laugh. All the dancing, I don't take that seriously. And sort of people tweet me and go, what are you doing that for? You look like an idiot. I know. You don't need to tweet me to tell me that. I always look at the show, and indeed just being on telly, as you hosting a party, and therefore you've got to make sure, you know, metaphorically, everyone's got a drink. You've got to make sure everyone's happy, and that's my job.
But being the perfect host isn't just about entertaining the viewers.
What do you think about those comments? Because, I mean, to be fair, Louis, he does Journey last week. He does something for that for me is a well-rounded pop star.
Yeah, but you're not a judge, Dermot. I'm the judge. You're not a judge.
Well, to be fair, I think the public are the real judges, aren't they?
A great talent show host is somebody that can answer back and banter with the judges. There's nothing wrong with having to go at your judges every now and again.
When he first joined the show, Dermot had been wary of answering back, but that led to a stern word from his new boss, Simon Cowell.
I was out in America, and he invited me around for lunch. I thought, oh, it's going to be great. So I turned up to the Bond villain house. And he said, listen, I need to speak candidly. And I just thought he was going to go, you're great, you've done a great job, you know, because you know, just got pats on the back so far. And he went, you need to up your game. So I'm just going, I'm getting sacked. In my head, I'm just going, oh my God, I'm getting sacked. And he said, look, I really like you on the show, you need to up your game, give me a harder time.
Surely, to win this competition, Simon and Cheryl, Simon and Cheryl, there's other people in the room as well.
And I said to him, you know, if you're saying that, when I have a go at you, you can't then complain about it. And he didn't, he was brilliant.
Simon, for the final time. Oh, I can be hard when I want to be.
But not every judge welcomes backchat. And in 2003, the on-screen feud between Fame Academy host Patrick Kielty and Judge Richard Park threatened to overshadow the entire series.
Look at him sweating slightly. It's a little bit too hot for you, sir. Richard Park is here, and they are...
My problem with Patrick Kielty was simply that he interrupted all the time to give us his own view.
That ain't good enough.
Okay, hang on.
I don't want to turn this into a pantomime. Do you not get the message?
No, we're not trying to turn it into a pantomime, okay? I'm trying to actually...
He saw himself as a musical Colonel Gaddafi, and you were either with him or you were against him.
You see, I don't think the host should be on the contestant's side. I don't think the host should be on any side.
Richard, I think there's a lot of people in here worried about your ears, okay?
Richard wasn't just angry, he was enraged, where you thought, oh dear, if he could get over this little wooden bit that's between them, he's actually going to deck Patrick Kielty live on television.
I'm giving you an honest critique and I'm getting a little tired of your attitude, so just you button it.
Hang on.
It was tedious. It threatened to ruin the show. Ultimately, it might have brought it down.
No,
Richard, in fairness...
Seriously, I've given you a critique.
I know you've given us a critique, OK, but what am I meant to do? Am I meant to stand here while everyone else thinks you're talking rubbish?
I, for a long time, actually thought it was an act. So I thought, you know, this is what he's doing to make good telly.
Ladies and gentlemen, this man is so sycophantic, it's tiring.
OK, come on, look, no, please. This is not about me and you, this is about this guy, and I think he's damn good, OK? Well played, Paris.
And I kept passing him in the corridor, expecting him to maybe wink, or just, aye, haven't we got them going here? And it never happened. And then I realised, no, he actually hates me.
I've met him subsequently, and you can imagine how it went.
Next, we tell the story of how Opportunity Knocks rescued the career of one of the all-time greats.
My career was going downhill faster than a rabbit with a promise.
He decided that this was it. This was his last chance saloon.
Today, the talent show is a global phenomenon.
X Factor.
Shows like Britain's Got Talent, The X Factor and Pop Idol all have their equivalents in dozens of countries across the planet. The talent show's come a long way from the days of music hall and variety.
Britain has always been a country where people fancy their chances with a talent. It is like people queuing up in the old days to perform at the circus or end of the pier or whatever. It goes back that far.
So, it seems Britain's always had talent. The prizes in those days might not have included a £1 million recording contract. More likely a few quid for winning an end of the pier show. The man who first brought talent contests to our airwaves was Canadian broadcaster Carol Levis. His Discovery show started on radio in the 30s and transferred to television in 1949.
There are hundreds of people, I'm sure, who do something or other in the way of entertainment. People from almost every walk of life who may be the stars of tomorrow.
Carol Levis was a very well-known name. He's Canadian. He had a great stage presence and personality, and he used to bring his discoveries on one after the other.
Don't rush me, girl.
I was one of the few people, certainly only one alive today, who originally was a Carol Levis discovery. It was the first step on that slippery ladder of success.
Friends? But for many, the show that started the nation's love affair with the talent show was the one that gave the viewers at home the chance to create their own stars for the very first time.
We auditioned over 10,000 acts this season for your Opportunity Knocks.
Opportunity Knocks was massive. It was the biggest talent show around in its day. It was on every Monday night.
Welcome once again to British television's only variety show where your votes and your votes alone make the winners.
Everybody would gather and watch Op Knocks, and everyone would have an opinion in the family.
Every week, 6 different acts would get 3 minutes to perform their routine, and it was up to the great British public to choose their favourite.
And this is what we want you to do. Put down the name of the act that you want to see come back a week tonight, your address and your name in your own handwriting, and send it, my darlings, if you would be so kind, to Opportunity Knocks.
Can you imagine that now? People voting by post. It was amazing, you know, that they were given that power, really, to create a star.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the Zaporozhian Cossacks from Nottingham, Opportunity Knocks.
Long before Britain's Got Talent, Op Knocks was the show that gave us the weird as well as the wonderful.
Now, our boast on Opportunity Knocks is that we try and bring you variety.
There were comedy contortionists, umpire bands, and whatever it is that he's doing.
The unpredictability about Opportunity Knocks was one of the reasons it kept it in the ratings. You could not predict what was going to come on.
Strongman Tony Holland, the musical Muscle Man.
Of all these novelty acts, perhaps the most memorable was a man whose dancing pectorals earned him the viewer's vote 5 weeks running.
I remember my mum laughing so hard when the Muscle Man did that doop, 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 and his muscles moved. So my mum, literally, we had to change cushions. It was very, very funny.
Yes, thanks to Tony's unique talents, few of us can now hear the tune of Wheels Cha-Cha without getting the urge to flex those biceps.
Doom, doom, doom.
Under the shirt, it's really moving.
Is it?
Under this shirt.
Right.
They're going 10 to the dozen.
Do you want to take your shirt off and show us?
No.
No, okay.
In 1964, Tony was performing his act in pubs across the country when he saw an ad appealing for unusual acts to come and audition.
When I filled in the form for Opportunity Knocks, it said, describe what you do. Now, how you put that on paper, but I described it, I make my muscles roll, jump, twist, gyrate to music.
We hadn't ever seen anything like that before. And also, I think the ladies quite liked the fact that here was this quite buff-looking chap with just a pair of Speedos on, doing a lot of that. And I think that got the housewife vote.
Oh, crikey. But not everyone was impressed with Tony's novelty muscles.
There was a letter from somebody who said, we don't think it's right for family viewing. And one of my neighbours is going to report you to the police for obscenity.
Tony was just one of many much-loved entertainers to be discovered by Op Knox. It was also the show that gave us Freddie Starr, Lena Zavroni, Cannon and Ball,
Rock on, Tommy!
and Paul Daniels.
You're gonna like this. Not a lot.
Audiences of up to 20 million were hooked by the chance to create stars from the comfort of their living rooms.
So for Freddie Davis from London, Manchester and all over the place, Opportunity Knocks.
It brought instant fame. It was overnight success. There's no such thing as overnight success. But it was. It just happened like that.
Come here, Parrot Pete.
Little and large.
One appearance on Opportunity Knocks, and if you won, you were an instant star. Unknown on the Saturday, Monday night. Everyone knew you. It was fantastic.
Tom O'Connor.
A comedian had never won it, and I went on and won with 19 million people viewing it. You just became an unbelievably big star in a very short time. 2 years after having won it, I'm in a bar in Liverpool, and a fella come in completely dressed in a postman's uniform, and he said, "You're Tom O'Connor." I said, "That's right." He said, "I work in the sorting office." And I said, "Really?" He said, "We looked after you on Op Knox, didn't we?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "When any postcards come through the sorting office didn't have your name on, we threw them in the bin."
You've all heard of the $6 million man? Well, here's 10 bob's worth.
I think it could be a great platform. It could be a platform where you became a star and suddenly you were working at the Palladium. Or it could go the other way, and in my case, my agent rang me up and said, we had 3 bookings cancelled. So 3 working men's clubs that had seen me on the show went, no, we don't want him. and they cancelled me.
But if one story sums up the rags to riches power of the TV talent show, it's that of a struggling comic for whom opportunity thankfully knocked in 1967. 34-year-old Les Dawson was selling vacuum cleaners in Manchester by day and performing stand-up on the club circuit by night. But with a new family to support, he decided to give up his dream of making it in show business.
I remember seeing one once in the Hume Hippodrome in Manchester, and he sat next to me and he said, I really am going to give this business up next week. He said, I'm just getting nowhere at all.
He'd been round the clubs for years, had been to Paris as a piano player at one time, and decided that this was it, this was his last chance saloon.
When we first got married, people thought I was a ventriloquist. Every time I opened my mouth, she talked.
Although seemingly the butt of his jokes, it was actually wife Meg who suggested Les have one last shot at stardom, as daughter Julie recalls.
Mum spied the Opportunity Knocks auditions at the Milton Hall in Deansgate and decided she would put him forward. She got the application form and came home and said, you're doing this next week.
It was my last final fling at show business. I must admit, at those years, things were going pretty bad. In fact, my career was going downhill faster than a rabbit with a promise.
He'd been told he'd got a bull voice and he looked like a boxer, so I don't think he thought he was good enough for television. And that, obviously, when Mum had got the application form, she said, look, you won't know until you try.
I'd known Les outside of my role as a producer, just purely as a person that went round clubs in the north of England. And one day I'm in Milton Hall in Manchester auditioning with Huey and Doris and Cindy, and we're at the top table. And I'm looking through a crowd of people and I see what I think is Les Dawson at the door. So I said, Green, you're going to love this fella, you're going to love him.
The vicar took one look at her, looked at me, looked at the size of her again and said, "Do you take this woman or will you have her delivered?"
Les Dawson would go on to become one of the nation's most loved comedians. But without Opportunity Knocks, we may never have heard of him.
He was absolutely a one-off, brilliant talent, and Opportunity Knocks was his launchpad.
Thank you, you have impeccable taste.
It was Les who recorded one of the highest ever scores on the infamous audience clapometer.
Right now, make your mind up time.
A piece of gadgetry that's gone down in talent show folklore.
What I remember about Opportunity Knocks was the clapometer more than anything else, because that was cack.
There was one night when the applause got louder and the needle went down, and I thought, I'm not sure that's right.
Remember, the clapometer is for fun only.
I thought, how can this machine do this? And apparently, actually, all they did was somebody just turned a dial. It was made of wood or something. I was thinking, I wouldn't mind a clapometer.
I don't know whether it was a man behind the scenes with a with a pencil.
It was obviously some old dear like that having a fag and doing a knitting in between. So, oh, I like him. Let's push it up a bit further.
So was there really a scientific device behind the scenes that measured the audience applause, or was it just some old dear with a stick? To set the record straight, former producer Royston Mayo has come to the National Media Museum in Bradford as we finally reveal the Opknox clapometer.
Wow. Good Lord. I never thought I'd see that again. How wonderful. The rumour has it was a little man at the back of the audience with a stick doing it, which is absolutely wrong. Tom O'Connor, I hope he's watching, because Tom O'Connor says it's a little man. That is the clapometer. That is the genuine clapometer. If Huey was here now, he would love to see that. He'd probably be in tears.
Do you want to buy a cheap clapometer?
So we've heard about the show, but next we chart the rise and fall of its host, Huey Green.
Oh, my bones. He was a man with immense charisma. He wasn't an easy ride, but by Jove, he was a showman.
Vote, 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 because your vote counts.
Even to this day, all these years after his death, we're still talking about him.
Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Very nice to be back.
Opportunity Knocks launched the careers of some of Britain's most popular entertainers. But it also made a star of its charismatic presenter, Huey Green. Much more than just a host, Green was also one of television's great pioneers.
I lift up my finger and I say tweet, tweet.
And he brought a whole new style of presenting to our screens.
Oh, my bones.
Friends, I mean this most sincerely. Who are you going to vote for? Just got a little cough there.
Just over here. And I'd like to tell you, ladies and gentlemen.
Friends. If you can't spell little and large, just put crap. We'll know what you mean.
Thank you for the Zaporozhian Cossacks. And if you can't spell it, just put down dancers and we'll know exactly who you mean.
Everybody did a Huey Green in those days.
Friends, here he is, Mr. Huey Green. Well, hello, friends. Want to say how very happy we are to be here.
It was a style that we hadn't seen before. It was very American.
What's new for you, the voters? Because, believe you me, we're always thinking about you.
Before then, we were used to RP and presenters being terribly like that.
He had his catchphrases when catchphrases were only just coming in. You know, vote for that at home, folks.
Vote, 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 because your vote counts for the artist, and this season, for you, and I do mean you.
Born in London, Huey Green became a successful child actor in Hollywood before moving to Canada in the 30s.
In the middle of the spring, I realized all about that certain thing.
He served in the Canadian Air Force during World War II, and then after the war, he moved back to Britain, where he would make his name discovering the stars of the future.
Your host, Hughie Green.
Opportunity Knocks was launched on the fledgling ITV in 1956, and Green was the driving force both on and off the screen.
Welcome to Opportunity Knocks, your talent show, the program in which you make the stars.
Flying the length and breadth of the country, the show's host attended every audition in person.
We're just slightly north of the way we used to go between audition places was with our rather expensive taxi driver, Hughie Green. He used to fly us all over the place in this little Cessna. He'd arrive somewhere and he'd be mobbed. Everybody wanted his autograph. Everybody wanted his picture and autograph. He was a massive star, Hughie Green. He was a big, big name.
Give us a kiss. Bless you.
Peter, how are you this morning?
Morning, Dad. How are you?
All ready for the fray?
Hughie and his team would watch up to 150 acts each day.
Are you taking singing lessons right now? You are. All right, well, now, what we'd like to do is we'd like to hear you again and tell your singing teacher that your top register needs to be watched.
He was very passionate about the talent because he himself was a child performer. So he liked the idea of giving people a break.
One of the many young stars who got a break from Hughie Green was 6 times Op Knocks winner Bobby Crush, my favourite.
Hughie, to me, was a kind of avuncular figure and incredibly supportive, but I do know the other side of Hughie as well, because I have witnessed it. I don't think I ever did an Opportunity Knocks show without seeing at least one flare-up on the set, which always stemmed from Hughie. I just presumed that it was done to show everybody that he was king of the jungle.
Hughie had a ferocious temper, and woe betide anybody who was in the path of that. He wanted things exactly as he wanted them. And if he didn't get that, whether it be the producer, whether it be the controller of entertainment, or indeed one of the team, he would take it out on them.
He was a man with an immense charisma, an immense volatility, very opinionated, and he wasn't an easy ride. But by Jove, he was a showman. He was the last, I think, of the showmen.
By the late 70s, Hughie Green was one of the most powerful men on television, and Op Knocks one of ITV's top-rated shows. But there was growing concern that he was now using the programme to promote his own agenda.
When we moved the show to Thames, and Philip Jones was then my head of Light Entertainment, I used to get a call almost every week from Philip saying, "Brian, could you have a word with Hughie? He wants to do a patriotic finish to Opportunity Knocks."
We British, Scots, Welsh, English, Irish, who in the past earned respect throughout the world, have one more loan to come.
He did this amazing, almost kind of Churchillian speech to close Opportunity Knocks.
Let us take, yes, take, not borrow, this year of 1977.
When I saw it, I went, because this was Hughie Green at his very worst.
Lest without these virtues, we lose our freedom forever.
I remember bumping into him, we were sitting and having a drink, and he said, Harold Wilson and the Labour Party, they're communists. We've got to save the country. We're going to get Prince Philip to take over the government. And I thought it was just a ramble, but in fact I was told subsequently that Hughie was seriously considering challenging taking over the country from the Labour Party.
But it wasn't just Hughie Green who was losing touch with the viewers. In its heyday, Op Knocks had benefited from the thriving live entertainment scene. But by the late 70s, the demand for variety acts was on the wane, and the show was increasingly looking like a throwback to the past.
Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never
think variety really came to an end when the theatres started to close big time and there was nowhere else to work.
The club scene died, and I don't think any of us saw it coming. One club had closed and another one would close, and next minute you're left without any work.
There was a new wave of comedy, a new wave of entertainment beginning in the late 70s that made Opportunity Knocks seem to be old-fashioned. The presentation of Opportunity Knocks never really changed from the time that it started. And I always felt, and this is just a feeling, that Huey was very, very reluctant to change that format, and I think that perhaps, with hindsight, was a mistake.
Those were the days.
Opportunity Knocks was cancelled in 1978.
Well, friends, that's it. I thank the artists, and you, the viewers, for your support and your votes. For myself, well, it's been a pleasure. May I say there's no truth in that rumor that I'm retiring. Bless you all.
I think Huey was very sad at the end of Opportunity Knocks, and I was there on the last recording at Teddington, and he walked off the floor, and there was a party afterwards, and he just walked off the floor and walked straight out of the studio. We never saw him. He'd done such great things for television, and for just to walk out that studio at the end of the programme, say goodnight to everyone and go, I thought it was quite sad.
When Opportunity Knocks finished for Huey, I think it finished Huey, really. He never really got back in. I think he wanted to, but I think he'd had his day by then.
Huey, do you think there's any danger that now that the show is over, you may be forgotten?
I couldn't care less whether I'm forgotten or not. I mean, that doesn't matter. Now go and ask something else nasty.
Well, what are you going to be doing now?
That's none of your business.
It was 3 or 4 years before I think Green realised that that was it. And then he wasn't a happy chappy at all.
Do you not have an urge to get out there in front of the cameras again? You must do.
Well, I think anybody who has performed enjoys performing, and I think I would enjoy doing something again. I mean, I think there is time. The time is around for a show like Opportunity Knocks to come back.
Yeah.
In 1987, Huey's wish was granted. Opportunity Knocks was back, this time on the BBC. They even revived the clapometer. But it was Bob Monkhouse, not Huey Green, who was to be the show's host.
If opportunity comes your way, don't knock it.
They bought the format from Huey and called it Bob Says Opportunity Knocks, and that was another very bitter blow for Huey. He wanted it to be Huey Says Opportunity Knocks. Didn't happen.
Since his death in 1997, Huey Green has been remembered as much for the scandals in his private life as for his role as the man who brought the talent show to British television.
Since his funeral, it appears to me that he's been written out. And that's a terrible shame, because he was a pioneer.
We've learned so much from him. I mean, the bones of a talent show are still what he did.
He was the godfather of talent shows. He was the recognisable face that everybody turned to host the variety show on television.
Huey's legacy is a whole host of household names who have had terrific careers in show business, and the fact that even to this day, all these years after his death, we're still talking about him.
That is show business.
Coming next,
We are the Cheeky Girls.
we look at how the talent show has created some unlikely stars.
I'm John. I'm Edward. Let's go, we are Jedward.
Yes, we're talking about you. But what are the likes of Jedward and Chico actually doing there at all?
Sometimes I think the problem lies when you go, but is this a talent show?
What the bloody hell was that?
For over 50 years, the British public have had the power to create stars. But it's not always the likes of Leona Lewis and JLS who've pulled in the viewers' votes. It seems we've always had a, well, soft spot for the eccentrics out there too.
There's a
eyes are full of sadness and it's black around the board.
Can't be good for you. Even in the early days, unconventional performers like Muscleman Tony Holland and poet Pam Ayres were extremely popular
Oh, fling another sausage in the pan.
and went on to enjoy thriving showbiz careers.
Thank you.
And at the start of the new era of the talent show, one audition proved that the most original of acts could still wow the viewers and the judges.
Hang on a minute, my glasses are steamed up. The Cheeky Girls to me was a great moment where literally it was great television because the public at home laughed as much as I did.
And you're definitely girls, yeah?
Yes, we are. So.
Only Louis would ask that question.
I'm just wondering, I
It's a
watched
family
the
view
now.
The Cheeky Girls brought the fun into the studio that day, and we had a great time. So we thought if we're having a great time, the viewer at home is going to have a good time.
Come and smile, don't be shy, touch my bum, this is
It was just hilarious.
We are the Cheeky Girls, we are the Cheeky Girls.
I knew they were fun for the show, but for me, they were here today, they'll be next week's fish and chips. They were not going any further.
We are the Cheeky Boys.
Romanian twins Monica and Gabriela Iremia had clearly struck a chord with the public. Their debut single sold more than 1 million copies.
The Cheeky Girls are still here, and what are we, 10 odd years later, and they were the kind of ultimate instant celebrity, no talent show winner.
The Cheeky Girls had shown that there was still a market for the talent show novelty act, and many more would follow.
Cheeky, cheeky.
Since the X Factor began in 2004, the more eccentric performers have played an increasingly important role, often making it through to the latter stages of the competition, providing both amusement and controversy in equal measure. Former goat herder Chico Slimani auditioned for the show's second series.
One day I woke up, I looked at myself in the mirror and I went, what is the chances of a 34-year-old ex-stripping goat herder ever walking into Sony and getting a record deal? And the answer was zilch. And then the X Factor happened and that was it. To be my girl, you don't have to be cool to rule my world. Ain't no
Chico is again one of those great characters that turns up that as a producer you would just go, oh my God, thank you God, what have I done so right to deserve this?
extra time and yeah.
Oh my God. Chico, that was just awful.
It wasn't. He had the sparkle in the eye, the personality, not a great singer, but had everything else going for him. And we kind of liked him.
You remind me of Julio.
Julio who? You're winding me up.
No.
More than a few eyebrows were raised when Chico was put through to the next round.
I'm going to agree with Sharon.
Oh.
And you are through to
You
the
will
next
not
round.
be disappointed.
No offence, Chico, but you're pathetic.
Although Chico was clearly not the best singer in the competition, his larger-than-life personality did make for entertaining viewing, especially his performance at Sharon Osbourne's LA Mansion.
You got to that bit, she makes you take your clothes off, go dancing in the rain. I was like, yeah, baby, Chico has arrived. Check this out. Ozzy come up to me and goes, oh, I thought that was brilliant, but you could have electrocuted yourself on my pole.
I've been doing this 35 years, 36 years. I wouldn't jump in water with a live mic, no way.
Chico had definitely got the nation talking, but for some, his presence in the series was undermining what was supposed to be a talent competition.
I remember one day opening the newspaper and it was a double-page spread. Is this man the biggest waste of space on TV? And it just hit me and I thought, my God, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to entertain, I'm trying to provide for my family and change my life. Why is it like I must murdered someone, you know? I might have murdered a song or two, but you know.
Big personalities like Chico undoubtedly bring great entertainment to the X Factor. But they also divide opinion.
I don't know what to say anymore. It was sort of horribly fantastic.
Sometimes I think the problem lies when you go, but is this a talent show? And you think, at that moment you go, it's an entertainment show. The talent's irrelevant. It's who's more entertaining. How bad will their dance routine be? What crazy costumes are they in? And which song are they going to destroy this week? You want all that because that's what makes people talk about it on Monday morning when they get to work.
For music lovers everywhere, it's Wagner.
Wagner, as it's correctly pronounced, Louis, became one of the most contentious acts brought to the X Factor when he was chosen as a wild card in 2010.
One thing I think the X Factor is, it's a fabulous way of finding new talents, whilst at the same time, it is like a TV soap. And the character I was given to play was the one that would bring fun.
Like a battle of hell, I'll be gone when the morning comes. When the night is over, like a battle of hell, I'll be gone.
Louis, what are you drinking?
I'm not drinking anything.
What's fun?
I got him to entertain the country every week. I didn't want to pick the obvious songs for him to do, because if we picked the obvious songs for Wagner to do, he'd be forgettable.
Talk to me, tell me your name. You blow me off like it's all the same.
When I asked Louis, full of enthusiasm and happiness, "So Louis, what am I gonna sing in the first live show?" And Louis said to me, "Oh, you're going to sing a medley, She Bangs and Love Shack." My reaction was, "What?" I was so disappointed because I like beautiful, strong songs. And they made me sing those happy, funny, silly songs. Whatever the intention was, it worked on my favor because people loved me at the end.
He was just brilliant TV, and he's done pretty well out of it.
The X Factor changed my life from being like a complete unknown, like a rolling stone, like in the Bob Dylan song, to someone that everybody knows. It's just magic.
Perhaps the talent show will always produce these kind of unexpected success stories, and for many, the moment of fame lasts much longer than 15 minutes. I mean, who now doesn't know this duo from Dublin who in 2009 went from unknown students to pop superstars?
It's like our first audition. It was like the first time we were in the UK, and so for us to go on stage and see all these people and all the flashing lights, I actually remember walking out and seeing the 4 judges there, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
All alone, this has always been a friend of mine. I'm leaving my life in your hands.
We had never used like a microphone up to that point. Like, we'd never done anything like that before. We'd never done any performing or anything. We had one school talent show, and that was it.
But the twins' lack of experience didn't stop them progressing, even though their hair-raising performances seemed to divide the nation.
You just went, what the hell is this? It's like tuneless, talentless couple of Muppets going crazy, but there was something compelling about them that you went, I kind of love them at the same time.
As with the unlikely stars that went before them, Jedward were often on the receiving end of some cruel headlines.
When people were saying mean things about us, we kind of realised they didn't know us personally and that we always knew that we were fine. And then we look at other series and people were like, I'm getting bad press. Or like, hello, we got like the worst ever. If you focus on what people are saying about you, you could go crazy. You just gotta realise that people are just writing things about you, just selling newspapers and magazines, that you can't do anything about it.
But it was the twins who would have the last laugh, as Jedward went from being a bit of a joke to a global brand.
Me and John have had 2 albums, we've had like loads of singles, we went to Eurovision, we met Barack Obama.
Alright, stop! Collaborate and listen! Jedward's back with
They entertained, and they have made a fortune ever since.
Me and Eric brought something amazing to the X Factor. No one had ever seen anything like me here. We brought cool hair, we brought great energy. I don't think X Factor's ever going to find anyone like me and Ed ever again.
Next time on The Talent Show Story.
The X Factor is absolutely huge.
This is a talent show on another level.
Each week's a drama and it's a soap opera.
Alexandra!
I didn't even think I'd get past week 1, let alone win the bloody thing.
Lena Zavaroni, one of the greatest talents I think we had in this country.
She was just an ordinary wee lassie. That's what she was.